My thumb is twitching. You see that? It just started when I hit record. Anyway, I was watching some YouTube video popped up, and the guy was saying that YouTube wants raw content, real people. What's really going on? Okay. So I figured, well, he was saying just talk about what's going on. So I figured, well, I'm a life insurance agent, and believe it or not, and I figured I'd talk about the biggest mistakes that I've made so far in the last 9 months. I got licensed in July of last year, 2024, and now it is February 2025. I think it's like, what, February 8th or something. I thought by now I would have been rich, I thought by now I would be making lots of money every month, I thought by now I would have it figured out, So I guess since this is my first video, just a quick backstory. I started at American Income Life, and it was a captive agency, and it was fine except for the fact that we couldn't cover people who were not healthy, and I found out that the coverage is way too high, in terms of the premiums, and so once I learned, I met a guy named Jason Woods from JasonFinalExpense.com. Just was commenting on his YouTube video. Next thing you know, he says, I went to his website and he was responding to my comments on YouTube, and I put my information in on his website. So he calls me. Long story short, I sold a few policies at AIL, and I had 1,000, 2,000, 1,500. I forget how much. Not much. I had a little bit of money, not much, that I made there. I think it was like 1,200 actually. I think it was like 1,250 or something like that, total or whatever. But I ended up paying for his sales training. I went through that. I got the script that I used to sell almost all of my policies. But anyways, I do recommend Jason Final Expense. But anyways, and then my mistakes. We're about to get to my mistakes. So, I don't have much money. Personally, right now, currently negative money. And I'll explain why, and I'll explain how I got to that situation. Greed, eagerness to make money. I want a lot of money, and I want it right now. You know what I mean? And just, foolishness, being a fool. Basically finding out what the budget is for people while I'm on the phone with them and maxing it out, not necessarily pushing them to get it, but it's just something about the way that I word the conversation. It's something about the way that I get them to get, like if they say, well, I don't want to go over 100, or I don't want to go, then I'll get them like 97, or close as I can get. Or if they say, I know whatever the number is, I can't go over whatever, I'll somehow, some way, usually get them to go with the max. But the point is right now I had since I went independent, which was been like 5 months or something. The first policy that I wrote canceled because he said I do all telesales. Everything I do is over the phone with a little headset or just a phone or on my computer or laptop. But he said a guy walked into his house, knocked on his door, and got him a better deal for the same amount of coverage, or maybe it was a little bit more or something. But anyway, got him a better deal. And and I'm not going to tell you this guy's name. I'm not breaking any HIPAA laws by saying this, but basically, I'll just say he had some big legal issue that I found out about, and that was why I placed him with the company that I did, because they were willing to offer him coverage, at a little bit higher rate. And so apparently the person who walked in, this is from the conversation I had with this guy. Apparently, someone had said, well, let me go talk to my boss, the real estate agent or the life insurance agent said, let me go talk to my boss, his upline or whatever. Had a conversation, came back, talked to the guy, the client, said, oh, don't worry about that legal issue that you had. It was, so long ago. I think it was like the guy's still on parole or whatever you call it, probation or whatever. But anyway, he actually got out of prison or whatever several years back. Anyway, the point is they were like, okay, it's fine, whatever, it doesn't matter. So they were able to just basically not mention it, I think is what they did, pretty sure. And, if the insurance company found out about it, I don't know. Maybe it's not a big deal. Maybe I could have done more due diligence in calling the insurance company and finding out, like, instead of assuming that they wouldn't cover them. At the time, I was not using insurance toolkits, which doesn't have legal issues on there, but that is a separate issue with the medical stuff. It does make it easier. But as far as that legal issue goes, it's just knowing what the questions are and all the applications, which I could do a better job at. So that's one mistake that I made, not really studying all the applications for all the companies that I'm appointed with as an independent life insurance agent, which right now is probably, well, it was like 6 companies, Transamerica, Royal Neighbors of America, Gerber, Royal Arcanum, Guaranteed Trust Life, and Foresters. So that was 6. Now I have Illinois Mutual, I don't know, some other ones, forget, what are they? It doesn't matter. But anyways, the other mistake that I made, no, that was the main mistake that I made. So what happened after that guy canceled? So anyway, he got a cheaper rate. Okay, whatever. That was like $536 that I got to pay back. So I was, devastated, right, at the time. Okay, but then a husband and wife canceled their policy with Royal Neighbors of America. And so I called them, speak to them, and they said, well, something came up, something happened personal, and she didn't want to tell me. I wasn't really like going back to the rapport that we had initially. I didn't really do that on the follow-up call. I didn't even mention the beneficiary, which, is just like, it was only my second call that I'd ever made to someone who had canceled, so I wasn't like thinking, oh, well, I know from experience I need to do this, need to do that. Now I've got notes down, right, for when I call the other people I'm about to tell you about, because there's more. And so anyway, now my thing is, when I call these people, is to get them back on why did they buy life insurance, So anyway, these people told me, the husband and wife, the wife told me like I said, something came up. It's personal. I don't want to talk about it. But we just, she's like, she literally told me, she said, it was the only thing we could think of to cut. We were having financial struggle, and the life insurance was the only thing we could think of to cut. And I didn't know what to say at the time. I was just really upset. What's the point in being upset though, right? I mean, it's selfishness, greed, fear, all that comes in. But the bottom line is, those people in particular, she told me they just dropped the coverage. She didn't say, well, we switched, we got a better rate, we went to a different company, another life insurance agent, nothing like that. It's just, oh, we don't know, we don't have that coverage. And I'll have to check my notes to see if they had any other coverage prior to that. I can't remember. But I mean, it's kind of a little bit irrelevant to this conversation because they have the desire to get the coverage. And they got it for a reason, to protect one of their loved ones. I think it was their son. Now that I'm remembering, it was, so for her policy, it was him, her husband first, and then secondary beneficiary was her son, and vice versa for him. She was the primary, and their son was the secondary. So I don't know what happened. But anyways, what I think, me personally, I think that I pushed too hard towards the upper limit of what they said they could afford. Because I'm like, the script teaches you how to like find out what they can afford and stuff like that, by finding their income and what they would be comfortable with and stuff like that. And there's usually like up to how much, what would be your max? I usually ask that. And like whatever they say, I push them right to that limit, and sometimes a little bit above it, and that was not how I was taught, by the way. I was not taught that. Okay. I was not taught to do that. Well, I was taught as a little caveat, as a little bump, as a little bonus, as a little hint, to find out what their max might be. But I was primarily taught to do what's comfortable for them. But my greed and my eagerness and my fear, took over. And so anyway, that was three policies that canceled. And then just a couple of days ago, and this was all within the last, the first one was a couple months ago, right before Christmas. And then these other ones have all been like in the last week. So anyways, true story, like the last 5 days, not including the weekend. I think it was Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, something midweek, middle of the week last week. Today's Monday night. So Thursday, Friday, Monday. So like 3 business days. This has all happened like in the last 3 business days. So anyways, or the last 5 literal days. So in the last 5 literal days, I've had 4 policies canceled. Bam, 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 bam. And I'm a new agent. I'm new to the industry. I don't have much money. I spent the money that I earned on leads. So all I have is a pile of 300 leads. And I was so depressed today that I didn't even make one single phone call all day on a Monday. I just sat in front of the fan all day, comforting myself, soothing myself, drinking sodas and chewing bubblegum, soothing myself, because of the the trauma, right? I have other trauma too, but that's not the purpose of this video. Anyway, not the kind you're thinking of. Not really. But anyways, all right. Life is traumatic, right? We all have it. All right, so what happened? A lot of people make it seem like they don't have life trauma. So maybe they don't. I don't know. But I do. Anyway, what happened next? What happened next was I got an email from another lady. Did I say 5 in the last 3 days? I meant 4, sorry. 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah. So then this next one, it was a lapse, and that's literally all I know. It says it was paid on the 2nd, but they're saying that the payment is due on the 8th. So I don't know. I gotta call them tomorrow. I didn't call anybody today. Well, I did call Transamerica after 5 o'clock because I was like, shit, I should probably make some calls. I should probably figure this shit out. Pardon my language. But by the time I spent 20 minutes on the phone, I was transferred to a department and they were closed after hours. A certain department was. So anyways, the final expense department, right? So I got to figure out what that's about. It's a lapse. And then I was like already depressed. That happened, when did that happen? That was Friday or something. So I went the whole weekend just being like fucking sitting in front of the fan like I always do, in bed. Trying to like soothe myself and like trying to like escape, you know, like the trauma of life, trying to like just distract myself, right? Trying to escape, trying to have some kind of good weekend or whatever, because I don't go anywhere or do anything because I don't have any money. Well, I mean, I do, but I don't want to spend it. You know, I'm trying to conserve it until I start making some. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, you know, you gotta let it flow. You gotta let the money flow. I know. The Bible says, there is that scattereth and yet increaseth. There is that withholdeth more than is meet, and yet it tendeth to poverty. So I got to call tomorrow and find out what that's about. I don't know. I told myself I wasn't even going to work this week, but I've got like an insurance toolkit free trial going. It expires in several days. And then I've got phone burner subscription, $200 a month, but I got a free month. Because I'm new. And I've got like all these policies that were canceled. So I really, honestly, I need to get to work whether I feel like it or not. I need to do more praying. I need to ask God to heal me and make me willing to get back to being a life insurance agent, right? Instead of just pretending like, you know, like instead of just putting it off, right? Because I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything this week. But anyways, what happened next? What happened next is I got an email today after being depressed all weekend about everything. An email said, hey, one of your clients called in to cancel. This was Royal Arcanum. So the first one was Guaranteed Trust Life, and then the husband and wife was Royal Neighbors of America. The next one was Transamerica, and then this one was Royal Arcanum. Got an email from them saying, your client called in to cancel today. We told her that we would need a written explanation or something, or a written request. She said that she would do that. That's what the email said. We told her we need a written request, and she said that she would do that, and we recommend you reach out to her and blah blah blah. Because obviously, they don't want to lose the business, any more than I do, right? I mean, they paid me for getting them the business, and then they also want to get paid, eventually. They got to stay on the books. Now, this all goes back to, I don't know why she called in to cancel, but I have a guess, and I would guess that it might be because I pushed all these people, not just her, to their limit, their financial limit, and because of greed, fear, eagerness to make money, and so that's 5 out of 7 life insurance policies that have been canceled or lapsed or are trying to be canceled. 4 that have canceled or tried to or are trying to cancel, and then 1 that's lapsed. So 5 out of 7. I did just get a call back about an hour ago. I didn't hear the phone ring, and I'm not going to call him back now because it's so late, and I'm just like, it's past 9 o'clock, past 9 p.m. I never call people after 9 p.m. ever. That's just the old, you're not supposed to do that legally. That's illegal, right? To call people, technically that's what you say, right? It's illegal. And that's the truth, right? So I just, as a rule, I'm not going to call you back. I don't care what the situation is. I'm never going to call someone after 9 p.m. period. It's not going to happen. So anyways, but I did get a call back from the wife of the husband and wife about an hour ago. So she's willing to talk. I think she knows who it is, or she does by now. She got the voicemail. And, if she hasn't blocked me, then maybe I could call her back. And that's a funny story about that one is originally she blocked I have 2 numbers on my phone. She blocked one of them. I called her on the second one, the second line that I have with AT&T. And one's it's okay, but I'm not gonna tell you that. I don't need to tell you the area codes, but she answered when I called her from the second line, and there was the same day. I think I called her the same day, and she picked up and bought a policy, and that's pretty much all I got to say about that. It's just my biggest mistake that I made, and here's 2 things that at least 2 things that can remedy this. One, it's keeping the customer on why. When you have the customer, from now on, and God, I hope I can remember to do this. I need to write it down on my script, write it down on my forehead, write it down on the wall, I don't get tattoos, but if I did, I'd tattoo it on my hand, and I just put Y on my hand right here, so that when I'm talking to someone, I can see why. Because I need them, when they write down the quotes, I need them to write down why. When they get a policy, you know, when they get that policy, like before I get off the phone with them, as we're writing it, I need them to write down Transamerica, whatever, $100 a month, $75 a month, whatever. And I know I need to make sure it's something comfortable for them, and so one of the things is, there's 2 there. One is I need to make sure and ask them and say, hey, this is something that I want to make sure that you're going to be able to hold on to for the rest of your life? Is this comfortable? Are all the bills going to be paid? And I saw a script that I really want to use this, because I've been looking at a few different scripts, but one of the scripts that I was looking at, it says, after all the bills are paid and everyone has had plenty of food, or after all the bills are paid and there's plenty of food in the fridge or plenty of food in the kitchen, everyone's happy, how much is left over, right? And that's a real question, right? Because you want to leave some padding, right, so that they don't have to cut the policy, right? I was texting with my mentor, Jason. We talk on the phone, we text, and God bless him. God bless him. I don't deserve a mentor like him. I really don't. I really don't. I don't, and I know I don't. But anyway, I texted him something good, only by virtue of the conversation that we were having. So I just letting him know that I realized, right? So I texted him. I said, okay. And this is after, him telling me like all this stuff, right? So I'm just sort of telling him what he told me, right? In a way. And I'm just letting him know that, okay, I get it. So I texted him. I said, it's better to get a little than give back a lot. And by making sure that, it's something that they're comfortable with, locking them in, or I'm not quoting it verbatim, but better to get a little than give back a lot. At least you're, getting them on the books. And by getting them on the books, you're doing what? Now they become a what? A referral. And if you do Google reviews or whatever, you can have a nice review. And also you can sell more people if you're not pressuring everyone to their max, to the point where they say, well, I got to think about it. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to look at my budget. I got to see if I can afford it. It didn't really occur to me that it occurred to me that a lot of people were saying that to me, but it didn't really occur to me like what was going on, what was my problem. And this is where I need to sit down and do actual personal inventory on all this stuff and find out like what the problem is, which is kind of what I'm doing. But it's like, if they say, hey, I got to check my finances, I got to check this, I got to check that, it could mean a lot of things. It could mean they can't afford it. You're pushing something that's too high in their budget, or they just don't like you, or they don't trust you, or they think you're pushing them or trying to sell them or trying to do whatever. And I'm trying to read Jeremy Minor. I've got his book that he wrote with that other guy, and then he's got the black book of NEPQ secrets, neuro emotional something questions. But like one of my problems is a lot of times I don't do things I don't feel like doing, and that's a big problem. I had a mentor one time tell me, it doesn't matter how you feel, it only matters what you do. And sometimes I forget that, because if you live your life based on how you feel, you're probably gonna have a bad time. All right, I'm gonna stop it because it's 30 minutes. I'll catch you guys next time.